Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः आनंद लीलामय विग्रहाय हेमाव दिव्य छवि सुंदराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रसप्रदाय श्री चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते नित्यानंद महम नवमी सर्वानंद करम परम हरिनाम प्रदम देवम अवधूत शिरोमणि श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय श्री नित्यानंद राम की जय हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू डियर devotees for very kindly joining back in our discussions. We couldn't have the past 2 days because I was traveling, but hopefully now, from now, we can continue from the point where we left off. We were speaking about Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his connection to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he was earlier a Mayavadi, but in the presence of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, there was a complete transformation. And very beautifully, we see that how he had written a verse. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripamuti Astamaham Prapadhe. As to how Gauranga Mahaprabhu is like that ocean. He is the ocean of mercy. And he is not different from Krishna. But why has he come down? For three reasons. To teach the world Vairagya, Vidya, and Bhakti. Nija Bhakti, Bhakti unto himself. So renunciation, knowledge, and loving devotional sentiments upon himself. These are the three reasons why Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu appears in this world. So that is the point where we left off. He wrote it, and then it was written on a palm leaf, and Mukunda makes sure he writes that on the wall because Mukunda knows that after going inside, Mahaprabhu will read and seeing that he is compared to Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will tear it. Exactly as Mukunda predicted, that's exactly what happened. Mahaprabhu saw that. He saw he was compared to Krishna. Mahaprabhu didn't like it. Prabhu kahe Vishnu Vishnu ihana kahibo. Mahaprabhu didn't like it. So Mahaprabhu tore that leaf. But fortunately, Mukunda had written outside the wall. And that's how devotees could take shelter of the verse composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's how we are also able to understand and relish the words that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has written. So that is the section where we ended. Dear devotees, let's continue from the point where we left off. One day, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya recited a verse from the Brahma's prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Canto 10, Chapter 14 is called as Brahma Stuti. So Brahma Stuti is that section where after the Brahma Vimohan Leela is done, after Brahmaji got completely bewildered, and for 1 year he was completely tricked. After that, he comes to Vrindavan and starts offering prayers of repentance to the Supreme Lord. And he chants various prayers. So those prayers are Brahma Stuti, which is Canto 10, Chapter 14. And there we see he glorifies Krishna. Very sequentially he goes. First he glorifies uh, the path of bhakti, then he glorifies Krishna, then eventually understands nothing is working out. So then he glorifies the associates of Krishna. Ahoti Dhanya Vrajago Ramanya. Very beautifully he says that, my dear Lord, glory unto the Brajavasis. धन्य है जो आपके मित्रगण है, आपके सखागण है, आपके माता पिता है, और जो माधुर्य रस में जो गोपियां हैं, धन्य है आप सब. अहो भाग्यम नंद गोप ब्रजो कसम. Everyone is fortunate. The friends are fortunate because they have got Krishna, but Krishna, you are also fortunate because you have got the Brajavasis. Ahoti dhanya Brajagoramanya. So eventually Brahma we see, Supreme Lord showers mercy. But the ultimate form of mercy has been discussed earlier. The ultimate form of mercy is showered by Srimati Radharani by giving him spots in Vrindavan. Dangad, Mangad, Bhangad, and Bilasgad. Vrishabhanu Maharaj's other brothers, they owned different hills of Barsana, and that was given to Brahmaji. So Radharani was very kind. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is now chanting the prayers of Brahmaji, Brahmastuti. But he changed, as he was chanting, he changed the word mukti in that verse to bhakti. He considered that mukti or liberation of any kind, either personal or impersonal, is not acceptable to a pure devotee engaged in bhakti or loving devotional service to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. So this is a very nice verse that comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam that we see. I'll just share the screen so we all can see it. This is Canto 10, Chapter 14, Text 8. This is the verse that Brahma has quoted, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is quoting the same verse now, but he does a change. So what is this verse? Tattenukampam susamikshmano bunjana evatmakritam vipakam Ritvatmapubhir vidadan namaste jive tayo muktipade sadaya bhak. Brahmaji is chanting. Srila Prabhupada in the purport and translation explains, my dear Lord, one who eagerly, earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. That person who has so many problems and so many obstacles in his life accepts that without saying anything, without speaking anything, as the mercy of the Lord. And in that process also, when obstacles are there, suffering is there, he offers his heart, body, mind, and words, and heart, everything to Krishna. Then that person has claimed the right for liberation. So, purport, this is the purport is not by Prabhupada, but by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Sri Sridhar Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son has to simply remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the personality of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. The word Susamikshamana indicates that a devotee earnestly awaits the mercy of the Supreme Lord even while suffering the painful effects of previous sinful activities. Lord Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who fully surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma. However, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. The purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord, and therefore the particular punishment given for sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality that produced the activity. Although a devotee is surrendered to the Lord's devotional service, until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit. This unhappiness suffered by a devotee, suffered by a sincere devotee, is not technically karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return back home, back to God. And then the purport continues. But here we see in this verse, if you see the last line, Jivet yo mukti pade sadaya bhag. Brahma ji is saying that person he has now claimed. अब उस व्यक्ति का अधिकार बन गया है कि वो व्यक्ति मुक्ति पा सकता है. क्यों? क्योंकि विपरीत परिस्थिति में जब सब भगवान को भूल जाता है, ये व्यक्ति जो विपरीत परिस्थिति में भगवान को स्मरण कर सकता है, भगवान की चिंता कर सकता है और भगवान का उपदेश बाकी व्यक्तियों को दे सकता है, वो व्यक्ति अब भागवत धाम जाने के लिए तैयार है, मुक्ति प्राप्त करने के लिए तैयार है. तो सार्वभौम भट्टाचार्य ये श्लोक का वर्णन किए, उच्चारण किए महाप्रभु के सामने. और यहाँ जो मुक्ति है, द मुक्ति वर्ड दैट इज देयर, ही रिप्लेस दिस मुक्ति वर्ड विद भक्ति. जीवेत यो भक्ति पदे सदाय बा. He replaced this with bhakti. Now what happens? He replaced it with bhakti. But we see Mahaprabhu was not very appreciative of that. But Lord Chaitanya told him, Mukti Pada directly refers to the Supreme Lord. Mukti Pada directly refers to the Supreme Lord because all kinds of liberation exist under his feet. Or Mukti is the ninth of the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Lord is the shelter, ashraya of liberation. अत्र सर्ग विसर्गश्च स्थानम पोषणम ऊतय मन्वंतर ईशानुकता निरोध मुक्ति आश्रय. भागवत का यदि एक टॉपिक देखा जाए, जो 10 टॉपिक है, उसमें से एक टॉपिक यदि देखा जाए वो है मुक्ति. एंड एज महाप्रभु इज एक्सप्लेनिंग हियर, mukti directly refers to the Supreme Lord and it is all inclusive of everything. So there is no need to change the verse. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya argued, mukti usually conveys the idea of becoming one with the Lord. So its usage in this verse is very ambiguous. समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि यदि मुक्ति का प्रयोग किए, so it is not very clear because normally mukti means it is becoming one with the Supreme Lord. Lord Chaitanya laughed upon hearing this and embraced Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Indeed, that very person who had been accustomed to reading and teaching Mayavad was now even hating the word mukti. कितना सुंदर बात है, जो व्यक्ति पहले मुक्ति मुक्ति करता था, मायावाद का प्रचार करता था, अब वो व्यक्ति श्लोक से भी मुक्ति हटाने के लिए तैयार है. He was hankering after mukti so much, by the association of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he is ready to even remove the word mukti from the words of Srimad Bhagavatam and add bhakti to that, which is the primary essence. Lord Chaitanya's mercy can transform even staunch impersonalists into pure devotees of the Lord, what to speak of others. This is a very important point that whatever we do, we consult with our superiors. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya did not consult with Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu was not very appreciative of that. One time Srila Prabhupada, 1972, Prabhupada went to Dallas. Dallas is a place in Texas, in the US. Prabhupada went to Dallas. And the day Prabhupada arrived, that was also the time Radha Kalachandji arrived. So if you see Dallas temple deities, there Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. Bhagavan ka naam hai Kalachand. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. And it's a very interesting history as to how Kalachandji appeared, but we will keep that for some other time. The day Prabhupada arrived is also the day Kalachandji arrived. And now the deities were covered. The deities were covered with a very sticky material. And the painters who were there, they were saying that this sticky material, whoever had covered the deities, because for the transportation and shipping, etc., this sticky material was such it was not coming out. And now, for dressing the Lord, it's going to be very difficult because how are you going to dress the Lord day in and day out for days to come and for weeks and months and years to come if this sticky material is there on the Lord's body? So these devotees who were there, they thought that somehow we have to remove the sticky material. So one Mataji was there, her name was Janava Mataji, Prabhupada disciple. So she thought to herself, let me do one thing, let me just use enamel and try to remove that sticky material. So she started using enamel to remove that sticky material which was there on the body of Kalachandji. And eventually, as she was doing it, somehow it so happened that she ended up removing the complete paint on the body of Krishna. राधा और कृष्ण के अंग से पूरा पेंट ही निकाल दिए. The purpose of the enamel was to remove only the sticky portions But she ended up removing the whole paint, and now she was confident in 2 days I can repaint it. So when the head pujari came, the head pujari Mataji, when she came and she saw this, she was surprised. Why? Because these deities were installed deities. They were already worshipped before. They were installed deities, and now to remove the paint completely from the installed deities is not very acceptable. So when she saw this, she didn't know what to even react. And now Kalachandji and Radharani were standing, and there was no paint on their body. So next day morning, Prabhupada was there in the morning walk, and Srila Satswarup Maharaj told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, seems like we have got into a new problem. Radha Kalachandji over there, Prabhupada, we tried to remove the sticky material that was there on the body of Kalachandji, and we used enamel, and eventually, because of that, the whole paint has come out. Srila Prabhupada was walking. Prabhupada stopped. And Srila Prabhupada said, just pack my bags and I want to leave from here. You all can do whatever you want with the deities. I want to leave from here. I don't want to stay here. Prabhupada was so angry. He said, मेरा टिकट करा दीजिए मैं पैक करके निकल जाऊंगा आपको भगवान के साथ जो करना है आप कीजिए मुझे मत पूछिए you do whatever you want. And now that Prabhupada was very angry. And that whole morning walk, Prabhupada didn't speak anything. Eventually, Prabhupada came to his quarters and Prabhupada was sitting. And Prabhupada asked, who did this? So they said, Prabhupada, Janava Devi, your disciple, Janava Mataji. So she came ahead and Prabhupada looked at her and said, why did you do this? So she didn't know what to say. She seeing looking at Prabhupada was so angry, she didn't know what to say. And then Prabhupada says, why did you do it? Whom did you ask before even doing it? Prabhupada was very angry, so much so that he was hitting his fist on his desk. Whom did you ask before doing it? And why did you even do it? And she was not able to speak anything because everyone in the room were looking at her. क्यों किया आपने? बिना किसी से पूछे आपने क्यों किया? So finally she mustered some courage and she said, Prabhupada, nonsense. This is nonsense. That whatever she did, she was condemning that. गलती हो गई. तो प्रभुपाद जी को बता रहे थे, प्रभुपाद जी गलती हो गई, मैंने जो भी किया ये nonsense है. So Prabhupada said, it's not nonsense, it is spiritual nonsense. It is spiritual nonsense. And then Srila Prabhupada looked at her and said, why did you even do it? She didn't know what to speak. And then finally Prabhupada seems like his anger subsided little. So Srila Prabhupada said, what now? What next? अब क्या करें? अब जो हो गया. अब आगे क्या करना है? What do we have to do next? And she said, Prabhupada, I spoke to Bharadraj in Los Angeles. And Varadaraj told me that you can use these dryers that are there, Japan made dryers. And because of that, Kalachandji will be dry very fast. So I called Bharadaraj in Los Angeles, and this is what he told me. And when Prabhupada heard this, Prabhupada's anger just exploded. Prabhupada said, Bharadraj, Bharadraj, I'm your spiritual master, not Bharadraj. Why are you asking him when I am there in front of you? When you can consult me here, why are you asking Bharadraj in Los Angeles? Is he your spiritual master or am I the spiritual master? And at this point, Janava Mataji, Prabhupada disciple, she was shaking because Prabhupada was almost in the mood of Narsingadev with his fist hitting to the desk. Prabhupada said, I'm your spiritual master, not Bharadraj. And then she had no courage to speak anything after that. Finally, Prabhupada said, so what's the plan? Again, Prabhupada asked, what's the plan? And there was another Mataji sitting. So she said, Prabhupada, we were thinking that there is a certain enamel that comes which we can use for drying off Kalachandji because now it was repainted and now they were wet. So, Prabhupada, is that okay? Can we do it? Do we have your permission to do it? Or if not, can you suggest something else that we can do? And when Prabhupada heard that, Prabhupada said, do it immediately. That's how Prabhupada did. Do it immediately. Don't waste. And that Mataji, she was saying, and this is a teaching or a lesson probably for everyone, that we don't take any decisions whimsically. We don't take decisions in spirituality independently without consulting our Guru there, without consulting our spiritual master. Whatever they have consulted, whatever they have suggested, after consulting with them is what we do. बिना उनसे पूछे हम भक्ति के मार्ग में, भक्ति के इस पथ में कोई भी कार्य नहीं करते. Because if we do, Prabhupada is teaching here, the spiritual master is not very happy when we don't take his approval before doing any spiritual activity. He doesn't please the spiritual master. And Prabhupada was very, very angry. Prabhupada was hitting the desk and saying, Varadraj, I'm your spiritual master. Why are you asking him in Los Angeles? Why are you not asking me? So we learn this lesson. And from this section also, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is making a change to the book without asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu did not like it. तो बारंबार हम यही देखते हैं यहाँ सार्वभौम भट्टाचार्य भागवतम के श्लोक में मुक्ति हटाकर भक्ति डाले और चैतन्य महाप्रभु से पूछे नहीं और महाप्रभु प्रसन्न नहीं थे. उसी प्रकार यहाँ प्रभुपाद जी की ये शिष्य भगवान की पूरे श्री अंग से उन्होंने पेंट ही निकाल दिया और बाद में बिना प्रभुपाद से पूछे अपना ही प्लान बना रही थी और प्रभुपाद जी इतने क्रोधित हो गए. तो यही एक पैरेलल देखते हैं हम दोनों पास टाइम में, वेदर इट इज प्रभुपाद एंड हिज सर्वेंट इन डैलस or Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya with this verse of Bhagavatam. We don't make alterations or we don't add things in the path of spirituality. We do things only after consulting our superiors, our Gurudev and our Siksha Gurus. Whatever they have consulted, we do it. Because if we don't, then the downfall is guaranteed. The graph, instead of going exponentially high, is now going to go down. Because we see Rupa Goswami explains this in the 64 limbs. The foremost limb, he starts off with his Guru Padashray, taking shelter, complete shelter of one spiritual master. Now, if that spiritual master is angry, how can we expect that we can make advancements? So, but what is causing him anger? Adding things or doing things without consulting. अपने मन मर्जी, जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, मन मर्जी का मालिक. जब अपने मन से करने लगते हैं, श्री गुरु क्रोधित हो जाते हैं. जब श्री गुरु क्रोधित हो जाते हैं, गुरु पादाश्रय नहीं रहता. और यदि गुरु पादाश्रय नहीं है तो रूप गोस्वामी बताते हैं कि हम भक्ति के मार्ग में कभी प्रगति नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो इफ वी वांट टू मेक एडवांसमेंट, द फोरमोस्ट थिंग इज Guru Padashray, taking shelter of spiritual master. Taking shelter not necessarily means only Diksha. Diksha करे, भक्त करे, आत्मसमर्पण. At the time of Diksha, भक्त करे, आत्मसमर्पण. The devotee does आत्मसमर्पण. Atmasamarpan means following the instructions of our spiritual master, right? Otherwise, if we are doing activities whimsically, then that is not Atmasamarpan. Then we will only have spiritual name, but there is no complete surrender. So we see this point from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and from Prabhupada, that is Prabhupada disciple, and with Rupa Goswami's backing of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. यदि भक्ति के मार्ग में प्रगति करनी है तो Guru Padashray, taking full shelter of our spiritual master and doing as he says and not altering things based on our uh, inclination or purva janma samskars. So in that way. One day Lord Chaitanya called Lord Nityananda, Jagadananda, Mukunda, Damodar and all his devotees and humbly said, "You are dearer to me than my life." भगवान अपने भक्तों से बहुत प्रेम करते हैं. In the ninth canto also we see, canto 9 chapter 4, in the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj. Aham bhakta paradino ya swatantra ibo dvija sadhubir grastardayam bhakter bhakta janapriya. There Krishna says that I don't know anyone apart from my devotee doesn't know anyone apart from me. I don't want to know anyone apart from my devotee, and my devotee doesn't want to know anyone apart from me. It is a perfect match. जैसे राम मिलाए जोड़ी बोलते हैं ना, वैसे it is perfect match. The Lord only wants to know the devotee only wants to know the Lord. Both don't want to know anyone else apart from each other. And here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is calling all his devotees and telling them, you are more dear to me than my own life. You did the duty of real friends by bringing me to Jagannath Puri and showing me Jagannath. Prabhupada writes, such an important point. A real friend is one who brings us closer to Krishna. सच्चा मित्र, सच्चा सूरज, सच्चा सखा वही है जो हमें भगवान के निकट लेके जाए. यदि हमें कोई क्लब, बार इत्यादि में लेके जाए तो वो मित्र नहीं है, प्रभुपाद जी बोलते हैं. because those activities only result in punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Again taking birth, again being in the mother's womb, again taking births, again growing old, again dying, and the cycle repeats. Punar mushiko bhava. But real friend is that friend who takes us to temples, who takes us to kirtans, who takes us to satsang, takes us closer to the Supreme Lord, because by being closer, by being in such associations, we are detaching ourselves from the material life and attaching ourselves to the Lord's lotus feet. And by doing such, every step we take in Krishna consciousness, we are getting a step closer, a day closer to the Supreme Lord. And eventually we are detaching ourselves from the repeated cycle of birth and death. So real friend is someone who takes us, introduces us to the Supreme Lord. We see in uh, the life of Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj also. पहले जब स्वरूप दामोदर ब्रह्मचारी थे, तो पीएचडी जब कर रहे थे कैलिफोर्निया से, तो उनके एक मित्र थे जो प्रभुपा जी से मिले थे, और प्रभुपा जी को देखकर बहुत प्रभावित हो गए थे स्वरूप दामोदर ब्रह्मचारी के मित्र, और कई बार प्रभुपा जी से मिलने जाते थे. बाद में एक ऐसा दिन आया, डे came when this friend said, Swarup Damodar, why don't you also come? Of course, at that time he was not initiated, but he went by his legal name. Why don't you also come to meet Swamiji? So Swarup Damodar Brahmachari said, no, no, I have seen a lot of Swamis back in India. They are all fake. They are all dhongi. I don't want to see. I don't trust them. And there came a point where this friend of Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, he said, if tomorrow you don't come to meet Srila Prabhupada, then our friendship is over. मित्रता खत्म. यदि कल आप मेरे साथ नहीं आए प्रभुपाद जी से मिलने, तो आपका और मेरा इस जन्म का नाता जो है ये खत्म हो गया. तो आप सोच लीजिए, यदि आपको आना है, यदि मेरे साथ मित्रता बनाए रखनी है, तो आप प्रभुपाद जी से मिलने आइए, वरना गौर प्रेमानंद, आई डोंट वांट टू. एंड टू कीप दैट फ्रेंडशिप, स्वरूप दामोदर ब्रह्मचारी, next day he went and saw Prabhupada, and that was it. From that time onwards he became so serious that both of them when they got initiated, Prabhupada gave them the name Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai. Just like Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai were the close associates, Prabhupada gave them the two names of Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, as they were the best friends. And eventually we see Maharaj even took up sannyas. So this is the point Prabhupada is saying here. Real friend is someone who takes us to Krishna, takes us to devotees, not that takes us to movies and theaters and all those things. That takes us away from the Lord and entangles us in the repeated cycle of birth and death. Oftentimes, in the social peer pressure, just to fit in the circle, just to look cool, we do activities that our friends are doing, whether it is intoxication, whether it's gambling, whether it's illicit relation, whether going to clubs, bars, etc. Just because if you don't do this, we have this fear, अरे मित्र नहीं होंगे हमारे जीवन में, I will not have friends. So to fit in a social circle and to look cool, we do activities which are condemned in the scriptures, which are breaking of the regulative principles. So those friends who ask us to do that are really not friends, because real friend are those who take us close to Krishna. And these are the statements of Srila Prabhupada. Lord Chaitanya requested them, please permit me to leave for South India tour to find Vishwarup. I wish to go alone, and until I return from Setubandha. Setubandha is Rameshwaram. You all should remain at Jagannath Puri. Now it's very interesting. Mahaprabhu here is saying that I want to go to South India to meet Vishwarup. But in reality, Vishwarup had already left this world. He had already departed. Unka tirobhav already ho gaya tha. So Mahaprabhu knew it. But still Mahaprabhu is saying, I want to go to meet Vishwarup. Why? Because Vishwarup was just a pretext. एक बहाना था. Mahaprabhu really wanted to go to South India to meet Ramananda Rai. महाप्रभु सबसे भेंट कर लिए थे. स्वरूप दामोदर गोस्वामी से मिले थे, जगदानंद से मिल लिए थे, मुकुंदा से मिल लिए थे, ब्रह्मानंद भारती से मिल लिए थे, परमानंद पुरी से मिल लिए थे, काशी मिश्रा से मिल लिए थे. महाप्रभु सबसे मिल लिए, लेकिन उनके जो निकटी पार्षद है वो है विशाखा सखी कृष्ण लीला में, जो अब रामानंद राय बनकर आए हैं गौर लीला में. महाप्रभु सबसे मिल लिए, केवल रामानंद राय से नहीं मिले. क्योंकि महाप्रभु कौन है? राधा रानी. और राधा रानी के सबसे निकटतम पार्षद यदि देखे तो वो है ललिता और विशाखा। तो ललिता जी आए स्वरूप दामोदर गोस्वामी के रूप में, और विशाखा सखी आई रामानंद राय के स्वरूप में। लेकिन अब he has met Swarup Damodar Goswami, not met Ramananda Rai, and Ramananda Rai was a governor of Madras province, working for the king there. So now Mahaprabhu, in the pretext of finding Vishwarup, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually going to meet Ramananda Rai. The Lord knew that Vishwarup had already passed away, but he pretended not to know so that he could liberate the people of South India. Hearing the Lord's appeal, the devotees became unhappy and silent. Nityananda said, "How can you go alone? Let one or two of us, whomever you like, go with you. Indeed, I know all the paths to different holy places in South India. Just order me. I shall come with you." नित्यानंद प्रभु बोलते हैं, यदि आपको किन्हीं किन्हीं के साथ नहीं जाना तो आप केवल मुझे आज्ञा दीजिए, मैं आपके साथ आऊंगा. Now Mahaprabhu doesn't want this because why? Last time when he traveled after sannyas, Nityananda Prabhu broke the danda and he broke it into multiple pieces and threw it in the river. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, अब नहीं. Last time एक बार already हो गया था, अब मुझे किन्हीं के साथ नहीं जाना. This is why Mahaprabhu is insisting, I want to go alone. I don't want anyone, because last time big drama unfolded by breaking of the danda, and Nityananda Prabhu had his own reasons to substantiate that, which are also true. The pangs of separation from the Lord are extremely difficult for his beloved devotees to tolerate even for a short while. जब महाप्रभु और रामानंद राय चर्चा करते हैं राय रामानंद संवाद में, ये चैतन्य चरितामृत के मध्य लीला में आता है, 8वें चैप्टर में, 8वें अध्याय में. So at that time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking Ramananda Rai that दुख मध्ये कोण दुख हाय गुरु तार, of all the types of problems, distress, sorrow that is there, Ramananda Rai, you please tell me what is that type of distress which is the highest. यदि सबसे ऊंचे स्तर में देखा जाए पीड़ा, if problem or a sorrow has to be taken into consideration, what is that kind of sorrow which is the highest? दुख मध्ये कोण दुख हाय गुरु तारा, ये महाप्रभु पूछते हैं. अब रामानंद राय उत्तर देते हैं, कृष्ण भक्त विरह बिना दुख नहीं देखी पार. हे प्रभु, being separated from the Lord's devotees is the ultimate form of pain. Apart from this, इससे बढ़कर कोई पीड़ा, कोई दुख, कोई दर्द महाप्रभु मुझे नहीं पता. आपने हमसे प्रश्न किया कि सबसे ऊंचे स्तर में पीड़ा कौन सी है. रामानंद राय बोलते हैं, महाप्रभु यदि आप मुझसे पूछे, मेरा मत यही है, कृष्ण भक्त विरह बिना दुख नहीं देखी पा रहा. बीइंग सेपरेटेड फ्रॉम द लॉर्ड्स डिवोटीज is the ultimate form of sorrow, my dear Lord. Higher than this, I don't know any sorrow. And here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see, and Prabhupada is explaining here, when we say separation, it is not the separation from the devotees, it is also separation from the Lord himself. So here Prabhupada is saying, the pangs of separation from the Lord are extremely difficult for his beloved devotees to tolerate, even for a short while. We see in the Siksashtakam prayer also the same point is made. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that Yugaitam nimeshana chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Even a moment, Mahaprabhu is saying, it seems like a millennium has passed by. One moment of separation, Govinda virahena. One moment of separation from Govinda Shri Krishna, Mahaprabhu is saying, ऐसा लगता है कि मानो एक साल नहीं, 100 साल नहीं, कई साल निकल गए. 1 millennium has passed by just in one moment of separation. So for the devotees, separation from the Lord and separation from the devotees of the Lord are the highest form of pain. दुख मध्य कोण दुख है गुरु तारा, कृष्ण भक्त विरह बिना दुख नहीं देखी पारा. Lord Chaitanya affectionately criticized his devotees to avoid them from accompanying him. Dear Nityananda, I am simply a dancer and you are the wire puller. Mahaprabhu is saying, I am simply the dancer and you are the wire puller. Actually, we see Prabhupada is also saying the same thing. काष्ठेर पुतली यथा नाचाओ से मते, नाचाओ नाचाओ प्रभु, नाचाओ से मते. When Prabhupada writes his song in the Jaladuta, Prabhupada pens his heart down. Whatever the emotion is going on in the heart, Prabhupada writes it down. And there Prabhupada is saying exactly the same thing, that my dear Lord, I am the puppet and you are the puppeteer. What do we see between the puppeteer and puppeteer? What is the relation? The puppet moves based on how the puppeteer is moving the strings. The control is there in the hands of the puppeteer. And based on how the puppeteer moves, the puppet moves. The puppet has no individual agenda. Based on whatever the puppeteer wants, the puppet does. Prabhupada says, my dear Lord, I am the puppet, you are the puppeteer. Based on whatever you want, I am ready to move that way. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying the same thing to Nityananda Prabhu. Right? Oh Nitai, I am the dancer and you are the wire puller. Which essentially means the same. I am the puppet, you are the puppeteer. So प्रभुपाद जी हम देखते हैं ये भाव कहाँ से ग्रहण करते हैं चैतन्य चरितामृत के पन्नों से. All the acharyas, whatever mood they have, it comes from the Shastra. It comes from the Shastra. So Prabhupada is taking that same mood of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and is expressing his heartfelt emotions. After taking sannyas, I wanted to go to Vrindavan, but you took me to Advaita Acharya's house, Shantipur. On the way to Jagannath Puri, you broke my danda. So Mahaprabhu is giving a full list why he doesn't want Nityananda Prabhu with him. Mahaprabhu is saying, Nitai, you may be very great, but हम खुश हैं, हमें नहीं चाहिए. निताई आप यहीं रहिए और let me travel alone. I don't want anyone else. I know that all of you have great affection for me, but these things greatly disturb me. Jagadananda wants me to enjoy bodily gratification. Out of fear, I do whatever he tells me. Because Jagadananda Pandit is very fiery by nature. Who is Jagadananda Pandit? Satyabhama. And Satyabhama we see in Krishna Lila is very fiery. बहुत जल्दी गुस्सा आ जाता था सत्यभामा को. अब वही सत्यभामा महाप्रभु के लीलाओं में जगदानंद पंडित बनकर आए हैं. So we see the same parallel when Jagadanand Pandit would get very, very angry and he would give perfumes and oils for Mahaprabhu's use. One time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there in Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu's servant, constant companion was Govinda. And Jagadananda Pandit came and he brought fragrant oil for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu was not home. So he gave it to Govinda and said, Govinda, you massage Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with this oil. So Govinda said, knowing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will not accept this. He's sannyasi, he will not accept. Jagadananda Pandit said, no, 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 tell him his Jaga got it. Tell him his Jaga got it, he will definitely take it. So Govinda said, okay. Mahaprabhu प्यार से प्रेम से जगदानंद पंडित को जग्गा बुलाते थे, जग्गा. So tell him his Jaga got it. So Govinda said, okay. Mahaprabhu came and he could smell. The room was very, very fragrant. He asked Govinda and Govinda explained the whole thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you know, I will not use these oil. Govinda said, I told him, my dear Lord, but he was insisting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't say anything. And next day, Jagadanand Pandit again comes. And again, uh, he asked Govinda that what happened? Did Mahaprabhu accept? He said, no, I told you, Mahaprabhu will not accept. He's sannyasi, he will not accept. And Jagadanand Pandit got very angry. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back eventually, Mahaprabhu saw that Jagannath Pandit is very angry. Mahaprabhu said, if I wear this oil, fragrant scented oil, people will think I am a Dari sannyasi. Dari sannyasi means uh, a sannyasi who externally behaves as sannyasi but is a womanizer. People will think I am a Dari sannyasi. Why? Because outside I'm behaving like sannyasi, but inside from my body all fragrant scents and oils are coming, which means they will feel inside the house I'm associating with the opposite gender. Sannyasira alpa chidra sarva loka gaye. Mahaprabhu says the character of sannyasi is like a white cloth. And in that white cloth, if there is one black spot, लोग क्या करते हैं? लोगों का काम है कहना. They will forget all the they will forget all the white color of the cloth. But that one black spot that is there, they will just see that and they will sing that glories. Sannyasira alpa chidra sarva loke gaye. लोग निंदा करते हैं. People criticize one little black spot in the character of a devotee. people forget all good activities and they just criticize and criticize and criticize. Mahaprabhu says sannyasi's character is very sacred. If I wear this oil and go out, people will think I'm a Dari sannyasi, and then how will I preach? What is the purpose of taking sannyas and what is the purpose of coming to Jagannath Puri? And eventually we see Jagannath Pandit got so angry, he took the bottle of oil and threw it to the ground and broke it. He said, if Mahaprabhu is not going to use, then no one should use it. What's the use of this bottle of oil? He threw it to the ground and was very, very angry. And eventually Mahaprabhu had to pacify him, and Jagannatha Pandit came back to his original state of friendship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the point Mahaprabhu is saying. Jagadananda wants me to do sense gratification. Oil for the body, fragrant oil for a sannyasi. This is Mahaprabhu saying this is sense gratification. One time Srila Prabhupada was in Los Angeles and his servant was massaging him. And we see Prabhupada every day would have oil massage. His servants would do oil massage for him every day. And one time, Brahmananda Prabhu got rosewood oil for him. Now, rosewood oil is extracted from rosewood trees that are found in California. Rosewood trees are only found in California, primarily in California. So, from the rosewood trees, rosewood oil extracted, and he got it from Prabhupada. And 100 ml was $100 back then. Very expensive. Very, very expensive. Which means for 100 ml in the present day, it's about 8,500 rupees. Tail ka cost. How many of us would purchase? No one will purchase. So Brahmananda Prabhu, for Prabhupada, he wanted to give first class. So he brought rosewood oil and gave it to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada took it. And Prabhupada poured the whole bottle in his palm. And Brahmananda Prabhu in his mind was thinking, Prabhupada, this is $100. I had to search all the places to get it. Prabhupada put it in his hand and he took that oil and he then put it on his head and was massaging his own head. So Brahmananda Prabhu said, Prabhupada, how is it? He was convinced Prabhupada loved it because very expensive and Prabhupada has emptied the whole bottle in one go. Prabhupada was massaging his own head with that oil. So Brahman Prabhu said, Prabhupada, how is it? Prabhupada said, it is good. But the one that we get in Calcutta is even better. Calcutta ke raste mein jo milta hai, that is even better than this. And Brahmananda Prabhu was thinking, Prabhupada, this is $100. What we get in Calcutta is probably 20, 25 rupees. But Prabhupada was such, his heart would always go back to the life in Calcutta, to the life in Vrindavan. Wherever he was, Prabhupada's heart was always thinking about Mayapur or Vrindavan. Prabhupada was there in Paris, and Prabhupada was there in a morning walk. One disciple narrates, Prabhupada was there in a morning walk in Paris. And the last day, as Prabhupada was departing in that morning walk, after one way was done, they were coming back to the temple. At one point, Srila Prabhupada paused. And Srila Prabhupada was just, for a few seconds, he was just swaying, transcendentally just swaying mildly from one side to another. And the disciples were thinking, what is Prabhupada experiencing? What is the Bhakti Vedanta purport? And Srila Prabhupada paused and he said, this breeze reminds me of Vrindavan. This breeze is like the breeze of Vrindavan. Where was Prabhupada externally? In Paris, in France. But where was his heart? In Vrindavan. So this is sadhu. Wherever they are somehow able to connect that to Dham, either Mayapur or Vrindavan. And here Prabhupada, he had oil, but his heart was even going back to Calcutta, where he would practice always bhakti from his childhood. Prabhupada said, this is good, but the one we get in Calcutta is even better. So Mahaprabhu doesn't want Nityananda Prabhu. He doesn't even want Jagadananda Pandit. If sometimes I do something against his desire, he will not talk to me for 3 days. Jagadananda Pandit. He loved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so much. हम तो नहीं करेंगे यदि भगवान हमारे सामने हो. Who will have the audacity that he will not talk to the Lord for 3 days in anger? No one will do it, right? But Jagadananda Pandit loved the Lord so much that if Mahaprabhu did not accept something that he gave for 3 days, Srila Jagadananda Pandit would not talk to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mukunda becomes unhappy seeing my austerities. Although he does not say anything, I know that he is unhappy within. So Mahaprabhu doesn't want Nitai. He doesn't want Jagadananda Pandit. Now he is saying about Mukunda. If I do austerity, Mukunda will not like. So I don't want him also. Damodar educates me with a stick in his hand. Damodar was another servant of the Lord. Imagine Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Bhagavan, but these associates love him so much. Just like Yashoda Maya runs behind Krishna with a stick. Just like Sita Thakurani runs with a stick behind Achyutananda, her son. Similarly, Damodar is holding a stick and training and teaching and chastising Gauranga Mahaprabhu. क्या प्रेम है भगवान के प्रति. That Lord is Namo Mahavadanyaya is now being uh, chastised by his own devotees. Although he is a brahmachari and I am a sannyasi, still he chastises me. They are more advanced in receiving Krishna's mercy and thus do not care for public opinion. But I cannot abandon the duties of sannyas. So you all should remain here in Nilachal while I tour alone. Prabhupada writes, devotees give more importance to love of Krishna than to social etiquette. Loving reciprocation takes precedence in intimacy, and social regulations take precedence in public. In this way, dear devotees, we will end our conversation here. Primarily, we spoke about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanting to go to South India to meet Ramananda Rai, but he has not spoken about Ramananda Rai yet. We know that that's going to come up, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives them the message that he is going to meet Vishwarup, and he also gives subtle hints as to why he doesn't want anyone with him because Nityananda Prabhu breaks Danda, Jagadananda Pandit, uh, he wants Mahaprabhu to do sense gratification. And as far as Damodar is concerned, or as far as Mukunda is concerned, he doesn't like austerities. And as far as Damodar is concerned, he takes a stick and chastises, even though he's a brahmachari and Gauranga Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. In this way, dear devotees, we end here only to continue our discussion tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Gaura Prema.